local media, or to anybody you're willing to have this conversation with. And so for our next speaker, I would like to introduce somebody who is going to talk to you about talking about medical marijuana. Did you follow that? This is somebody who has been an advocate for medical marijuana for so long that he recognizes and realizes when sometimes we fall in these pitfalls, these obvious traps when we go and we talk about medical marijuana to our representatives. And this is my friend who has been involved with a group similar to ours, the Texas Coalition for Compassionate Care, who they are just very, very focused on granting medical patients with an urgent need access to this medicine. And he has spoken at so many different events, so many different opportunities, that I felt like it was extremely valuable for me to invite him to come and speak to all of you about speaking about marijuana. Is that something that you're excited about? Yeah. All right, excellent. Well, please put your hands together and welcome my friend, Stephen Betzen. What? Medical marijuana, are you in the house? Welcome my friend, Stephen Betzen.
So, as he said, I'm going to talk to you about talking about medical marijuana. I've told my story many times, and kind of like the John Boehner of the medical marijuana movement, I cry a lot. So, but the first thing that I want to talk to you about is the power of narrative, and we've seen a lot of this up here with other people talking. That's what's powerful. Let's face it, if the facts were going to win medical marijuana in Texas, then my wife and others would have had access a long, long, long time ago. We would have never felt the need to start the Coalition for Compassionate Care. There would have been no need for it because patients would have access. Because we have not yet won this, with the overwhelming facts, it is even more important to listen to and tell our stories and harness the power of our narrative. My wife has stated that medical marijuana is about science, politics, and the law, but for those who need it, for the patients, it's about compassion. And you know that better than anyone else. And your stories are more powerful than you may think. I've heard firsthand the stories of others who suffer and see the suffering of the people that they love. And I've met with a soldier who came back from Iraq, whose mother did drug testing for a living. She's against marijuana, but love overcame everything like the flip of a switch to allow her son some relief from the terrors that he brought home from war. I've met and listened to the story of a person who watched their brother die of cancer. Their brother was so lethargic with the opioids and the pain medications that they were denied the simple blessing of saying goodbye. And then there's my friend Tim Timmons, who was battling with MS and bedridden with muscle spasms so powerful that they would kick him out of bed and throw him across the room. And marijuana calmed his muscles enough to where he could get a sleep at night. He always greeted us with this big smile. And I learned from him that we are so much more than our diagnoses. We are so much more than our diseases. And that there is still joy and wonder in this world, despite all the pain. He forever changed my life and my wife's life. He lost his battle with MS 2 years ago. He was not a criminal, he was a patient. I often hear advocates of medical marijuana start riddling off the facts. New studies, statistics, patents, old studies, organizations, medical organizations that support medical marijuana. My eyes just glaze over because the facts are just so overwhelming. And the effect is much the same with our legislators. The walls just go up when they're being pilloried with this information. Anxiety is not a powerful influencer. And I know that that's hard when we're in a lot of pain and we're going through a lot of stuff, but know that your anxiety is not a powerful influencer in Austin, but your stories are. And more importantly, I think that we use the facts as a way to protect us from the pain and guard us from the pain of telling the real story. Because the real story is raw. The real story is emotional, and it's hard to tell because it makes us vulnerable. But the real story is powerful. The facts have been overwhelming for a long time, and it's time that we break down our walls to tell the story of what love does to relieve suffering. When they hear this story, they can imagine the people that they love and know that they would do anything to relieve that suffering. They will see their wife in pain, their son returning with the war still inside, and their brother lethargic on death's bed. They will be open to learning how my wife and the soldier relieve their pain. They can hear about others near death and how they had their pain diminished while still having the mental presence to say goodbye. They can be inspired by the perseverance of people like Tim, who despite all the pain and all the humiliation saw joy and wonder in this world. They will never, ever hear this from an impersonal study or a recitation of the historical facts. They can only hear this from you. It is a gift that only you can give. So I'm asking, I'm begging to write your story down. From whatever angle, whether you're a patient, a nurse, brother, sister, husband, friend, parent. Use a fact or two if it's relevant. Facts can be important and powerful tools and narratives, but you have to be careful. Use it as a tool, don't use it as a wall, don't use it to guard you against the vulnerability. Don't let it take over your narrative. Write it down and bare your heart on that page. This brings up difficult things, so it helps to be a little bit stubborn. But write through the tears, write through the pain, and write with all the love that you have in you. And I don't think it's insignificant that we have chosen the heart to represent love, compassion, and caring. The heart is the strongest muscle in the human body. So when I ask you to bare your heart, I'm asking you to give the strongest thing that you can give. And that's why your narrative is important. For medical marijuana. Prepare your story. Read it aloud to yourself and others. Ask friends to read it and proof it. And here's the important part. Use it in your letters to legislature. Read it before you go lobby. And give legislators your testimony. Let them know what marijuana has given back to you. Send it to us. We can help. There are a lot of people that can help you do this and have done it before and know how painful it can be. Our narratives have the power to transform Texas. Now, I've been working on medical marijuana legislatively in Texas now for almost 10 years. Every session I've traveled to Austin to lobby, and I've met with patients and their legislators, and every year we have a great batch of folks that gives hope a new try, and it gets down there too, and every year we lose so many advocates from the previous session. Last month I attended the Patients and Advocates for Cannabis Therapeutics Lobby Day. And there are more coming up. I know there's a lobby day coming up on the 18th, and there's going to be one soon after that, so do pay attention to Facebook. What? The 24th. The pack day is going to be 24, and there's another lobby day on the 18th. But make one of those. Go see your legislators. But, you know, and I saw a lot of new energy at this meeting. I saw a lot of new people, and then I was really happy to see people from more recent years past. But I looked around the room, and I could count on one hand the people that I saw working in 2007. And it's not because we didn't have that many. We had a lot of people working in 2007. I lobbied with a lot of people. So, I'm not saying this to make you sad. I'm saying this to bring up my next point, and that is stay. Stay. Don't just give it 1 year and give up because we don't get it exactly the way we want it. The bill doesn't say exactly what you want it to say. Stay. So, no matter what happens, stay. Every year, if we stay, we can grow this movement exponentially. We need you. And if you're one of those people from the past, come back. Lobbying's important. Rallying's important, but lobbying's important too. Every year we grow, and we will change Texas faster if you stay.
Yes!